Hey everybody, welcome back. You're probably wondering what the heck I've got going on here. I've got the keyboards, controllers, mice, there's all kinds of cables everywhere, and it's just a mess right here in the filming area. But what I'm doing today is I am on a mission. I'm on a mission to bring my already amazing video game talent to an entirely new level. I want to go God tier. I want to be the best gamer around. And hands down, best gamer around.
Come on. Come on. What? Dang it! Come on. Come on. Stupid. Come on. Long shot. Got him. Dang it.
Well, that was awkward. Well, maybe not the best, but I want to check out the Keymander too, because this thing has really caught my attention for a few different reasons. One of the main reasons being that I'm absolutely dog turd with a controller. I suck. I'm terrible with a controller. And the Keymander 2 has a promise of being able to use any keyboard and mouse with any console. And that is very appealing to someone like me who's used the keyboard and mouse for the better part of 20 years. Even though the PS5 controller is really good and I really like it, I want to use the keyboard and mouse with it. And at this time, we have to use the PS4 controller with the PS5 because there is no supported firmware to use the PS5 currently. Now, they claim they are working on that to make it so that it can use the PS5 controller. But essentially, what it does is it hijacks the frequency from what hijacks the link frequency or the link from the controller to the console, and it uses the input from the keyboard and mouse sent over the same signal as the controller. So the controller essentially plugs into the Keymander, and then it's still connected to the console itself, and then you use the keyboard and mouse like that. So it's a bunch of wizardry. It's kind of seems like a little bit of hacking, but hopefully, yeah, we have a visitor. Hopefully, we can just hook it up and it'll work. Wiener Cat is going to help us out, of course, because that's what she does. She's our helper. But basically, let's go ahead and let's open this box up. I'll show you what's inside. It's really some basic stuff. There's nothing too fancy about anything that's included in the packaging itself that makes it stand apart from anything else. But you know, they claim that it's like the app and the different profiles and things that you can use to really customize the Keymander. That is what sets it apart. So I'm hopeful that we'll have a good experience with this, and that everything will set up just like they say it does, and we'll be able to get into some games pretty quick. But yeah, inside the box, basic stuff. You get a tangled cable and a bunch of padding, but you get your basic paperwork. Most of that refers you to the app. They really push their app. It's available on Android and iPhone. They really push that. They want you to use that to control the Keymander's functionality. But outside of that, it's like I said, basic stuff. The Keymander box itself has a permanently affixed cable. That is both power and data to the console itself. It also has an additional power input if you're using a keyboard that has things like they said it's for mostly for things like having pass-through power, like a keyboard that has pass-through power. But I don't know exactly what they mean by all that. So we're gonna go ahead and use it just because it's there. So we're gonna hook every single cable that it comes with up to the actual unit, because I don't want there to be any kind of reason for something not to work. The other cable that comes included is for the additional power. So you will need to use the cable that came with your PS4 controller to plug into the Keymander box, because that micro USB cable, the additional one that came in the box, goes to, like I said, the extra. They external power, which I just plugged it in on the back of the PS5, and that seemed to be okay. So use the included, like I said, the included controller cable to plug the controller into the Keymander. I would like to take note that I am using a Corsair K65 Lux keyboard here, as well as the Corsair M65 Pro mouse. So that's going to be kind of our baseline for peripherals. So let's go ahead and let's just get this thing plugged in and see if it works, right? I mean, what do we got to lose? How hard can it be? It's supposed to be easy. What an absolute dumpster fire. Software is terrible. The software on this thing is terrible. Oh my god. Alright. So, the split in those two clips is about 2 hours. At least 2 hours. It's got to be close to 2 hours. This thing is a nightmare to get set up. As far as plugging it all in, it's pretty basic. You plug in the external power, you plug it into the console itself, you plug in your controller, then keyboard, then mouse. There's a certain order. When you download the app, it tells you the order to do it, but of course, it's all in not broken English, but backwards English, so it tells you to do things like plug stuff into a box that has no power. So, yes, you plug in first the box to the console, then the external power to the box, then the controller to the box, then the keyboard and mouse to the box. That's the order. But first, before you get there, you have to update the firmware. It has an OTA function to update the firmware. That doesn't work. Of course that doesn't work. OTA never works. So what you need to do is plug it into another computer, download the firmware, pray that works, because it doesn't. So then you got to go to the forum and figure out that you have to hold the right and left button down on the box while it's plugged into the computer, which it tells you to do it before it's plugged into the computer, which makes no sense because it has no battery, therefore it has no power. So you plug it into the computer, press and hold the right and left button until a white light comes on, then it puts it into default firmware update mode. Then you can update the firmware via USB on your computer, and then it finally works. Software sucks. Get it straight. It sucks. Outside of that, setup was pretty easy. But all that headache aside, we do have it hooked up. The app is connecting. The app is super simple to use. You simply press the left button on the box to enable Bluetooth, connect it to your phone, and all the profiles that you could want are right there, right at the click of a button, tip of your fingers. Super easy. That part is super easy. Once you get this thing set up, and I'll be really clear, once it's set up, it's very easy. Very easy. So, we've got it all set up. Now, I want to show you guys what the gameplay kind of looks like with this thing. I've heard that there's a lot of lag with it, but I wanted to see it firsthand to tell if there was, any lag. Because I don't believe the hype on that. I'm not really a competitive player, but I do like playing shooters. So if there's a bunch of lag, I'm not going to be super happy with it. So one thing I do want to point out is that when you are doing the setup on this, what I found to work was going into the settings, the system settings on the PS5, and switching the controller mode to USB. That was the final little box to check to make this box actually work, but the setup for it is super frustrating. It's really bad, and there's not even a decent way to film it because it just looks like I'm plugging and unplugging stuff. But just know before you start any of it, go through that USB firmware update. Don't try to do the OTA thing. You just wind up sitting there for like 20-30 minutes at a time, and it says that it's doing something, but it's not doing anything. It's completely broken. I don't know who it's. When I was explaining this setup to a friend of mine, basically the way I put it is, it feels like the Keymander 2 had a series of um, basically concessions. Like, they thought, well, if they're willing to do this, then they'd be willing to do this, and if they're willing to do those two things, they'll be willing to do this next thing. So it doesn't feel like a product that is end user friendly, like, at all. Um, it's just, like I said, it feels like something that is not ready for release yet. And I know that they're constantly updating this thing. The forums seem to be at least fairly active with the lead person there at IO Gear, which is who makes the Keymander. It's part of their gaming line. So, I mean, it's what a nightmare to set up. Seriously, guys, this thing was such a nightmare to set up. But it is set up now, so let's go ahead. Let's break into some gameplay. Before I forget, by this point, hey, if you are having fun, make sure to like and subscribe. If not, then don't. We got some cool stuff coming up. Let's check out some gameplay. All right. Well, the gameplay I'd say is great. I'm not experiencing any lag. It seems to be quite snappy. I spent a ton of time syncing up the picture-in-picture of my hands to the game, just so I could really show you that it's not. It doesn't appear to be any lag. It's great. There is quite a learning curve with this, for sure. Definitely have to take the time and set up, or well, not set up. You can get individual game profiles in the app, but you really want to take the time and tweak it. So I've used it a few more times after initially filming this video and filming that gameplay and stuff like that. And a couple points in this video, like I reached over and used the D-pad and stuff like that. But I've since custom mapped those. I actually purchased another a quarter keyboard for this that had some macro keys and and really mapped the keys out exactly how I wanted them. But that of course increases the learning curve on it because you're also learning a new keyboard layout. But the default stuff will get you in the game, get you going, get you playing. And if you're a keyboard and mouse fan, this is really cool. I'm really excited, especially with some of the PlayStation exclusives coming up. Yeah, and apparently, after further reading on the forums, they're very close to getting some firmware ready to go for the PS5 controller, so which is great because of course that is required to play PS5 specific games. But as long as there's a PS4 version of it available, you can still use the PS4 controller, but it does not work if it requires a PS5 controller. So, yep. Yeah, learning curve, definitely. Does it work? Definitely. Is it a pain? Definitely. Would I recommend it? Hard. That's really hard. It's really, 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 really hard to give this an honest recommendation. If you're patient and you can, spare a few hours to get that initial setup done, that seems to be the ticket. As I've moved my PlayStation 5, obviously right here we're at a table. I moved it from here to its home and replugged everything in. Everything fired right back up, worked first time, so that is a big plus. I was really afraid we would have to go through that setup again. But yeah, the Keymander guys, let me know what you're thinking. Is this cheating? Is having something like this, would you consider this cheating? I'd be really interested to know your guys' thoughts on it. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Like I said, make sure, drop me a like and a subscribe. That would be amazingly helpful. And as always, it's electronics. Don't over tighten your screws.